Shabbat Shalom. This is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. It is the 15th day of the 8th Hebrew month. It's Friday night, November the 3rd, 2017. Smack dab in the middle here of the 8th Hebrew month, and it is the Sabbath. And I wanted to give a short teaching from Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7, and starting in verse 7. And it says, After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and mouth speaking great things. Verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. And it continues from there. But I wanted to just center on, in particular, Daniel chapter 7, verses 7 and 8. So we're describing this beast with 10 horns, and you can actually find this beast described again in the book of Revelation. It's the beast that rules for 42 months, the beastly kingdom. And it also has 10 horns, although there's a little bit more of the vision given to John, because this beast also has 7 heads and 10 horns. Although you get a hint of this in Daniel as well, because you see that there are 10 horns, and then there's this 11th horn, which is the Antichrist, the son of perdition, who uproots 3 of those 10 horns. And I want to talk about that, because this, I think, goes right into why I believe the United States has to be uprooted in order for the son of perdition to arise. So I'm going to just get this on the board again and kind of show you what I think that this passage means and what it's talking about. So this beast has 10 horns, and the 10 horns are: 1, the United States of America; 2, France; 3, England, or the UK, which include like Ireland and Britain; 4, Germany, which I believe Germany kind of is the head of Europe, controls Europe. 5 is China. The 6th horn is Russia, and a lot of the Eastern European states that Russia controls and influences. 7 would be Africa. 8 would be Australia and New Zealand. I know some people lump this in with England, but really they're kind of their own entity now. They're pretty independent of England at this point. 9 would be South America. And then 10 would be, India and Pakistan. I know they're sort of enemies right now, but India and Pakistan in that region of the world. Now, there is another little horn, the Anti-Messiah, the son of perdition, and he actually comes out of, he's going to rule Israel, an apostate Israel. Because remember, it says Jerusalem will be as Sodom and Egypt during the final 3.5 years. And the son of perdition is going to try to counterfeit. He's going to try to counterfeit Yeshua. So we got Israel. That's the little horn, son of perdition. Okay, so 3 horns are going to be uprooted when the son of perdition arises. So right now we have this beastly system. We have these 10 horns in place now, but 3 of these horns are going to be uprooted according to Daniel chapter 7. So I believe that the United States, France, and England are going to be uprooted in this coming World War III. They're going to lose. And so then you'll have the 7 heads, or 7 horns remaining. You'll have Germany, 1, 2 China, 3 Russia, 4 Africa, 5 Australia, New Zealand, 6 South America, and 7. And they'll all be led by Israel. Israel will be controlling the Middle East at that point. And they're all going to be led by the son of perdition, that little horn that will rise up out of Israel. So this is what I think is the meaning of those 3 horns being uprooted. Because once these 3 countries are uprooted, then you can really have that beastly system in full gear. for those 42 months. So there's also other layers to this as well, because prophecy has many layers. So if you actually go to Revelation, you'll read that it has 10 horns and 7 heads. And it doesn't necessarily talk about the 3 horns being uprooted, but it talks about 7 heads. So that's obviously 10 minus 3 is 7. And it also talks about how the 10 kings will burn the whore with fire toward the end of the Great Tribulation, because the whore will get betrayed by who they think was Yeshua, but it was the counterfeit. And so there actually will be 10 kings as well. 10 kings that will kind of rule the world under the arch king, the counterfeit Yeshua. And maybe 3 of those will get assassinated by the counterfeit Yeshua. I don't know, to sort of mimic what happens with the 3 nations, United States and France and England. But I do believe that what we have here is, that first seal, the white horse, which kind of is represented by the United Nations. It's really typified by Trump, I think. But that white seal, that white horse, the false religion, it's all been released. And so now we're waiting for that second seal, which is the red communism, the red war, the war. And that war is what causes the 3rd, 4th, and 5th seals to just break out, because it causes economic collapse, it causes famine and pestilence and all this stuff, and it causes the dead martyrs to cry out for revenge. But I think in this coming war, which is kind of what's next on the horizon, this World War III, which out of the ashes of that World War III is when the Son of Perdition will rise. This is when this little horn uproots those 3 horns. So there's going to be a war between the United States, the West, and the East. Communism, red. That's why the second seal is red. And the United States, France, and England are going to lose. They're going to lose this nuclear war. And Russia and China are going to be the victors. And Germany and Europe is going to basically, switch their alliances to Russia and China, because they realize that they got to be with the winners. And, Australia and New Zealand will fall in line. Africa will align with them, South America, India, Pakistan. So you'll have these 7 heads or 7 nations. And then you'll have the Son of Perdition that will arise and rule Israel, and he'll rule over all of these 7 nations. So that's what the 42 months will look like. But the United States has to be removed. France and England have to be removed before this can happen. And of course, if the United States and France and England were removed as superpowers in the world, you'd have a drastically different world. Because if you had Germany controlling Europe, and you had China and Russia and Africa and South America and India, Pakistan, these were the major players, the world would become decidedly more religious, more Eastern in its thinking. And of course, the Son of Perdition, the counterfeit Yeshua, will bring that about. So I think this is what we're looking at. So the next 4 months, is what I think we're going to see. I'm really interested to see what happens with these Antifada rallies tomorrow. They're talking about there's going to be these huge Antifada rallies. Some people are saying, no, it's a bunch of nonsense and it's not going to happen. Others are saying, no, it's going to be the start of a civil war. But it'll be interesting to see if this is one of the events that leads toward the demise of the United States, because I know the internal problems in civil war is one of the things that leads to the destruction of the United States, because when we're consumed with internal civil war and problems, that's when Russia and China and North Korea and these League of Nations suddenly strike America without warning, and probably strike England and France, since they're both of our allies as well. So this is what I think is going to happen. So we'll see. But I think that explains Daniel 7 and how it meshes up with the book of Revelation. This is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. Website is spiritandtorah.com. Shabbat Shalom.